Do you ever feel with your mental health that things are just getting on the top of you a little bit too much, that you've got a bit of an overwhelming sense of pressure from all the various different influences and pushes and pulls in your life, and that right from the start of the day things are just getting on top of you and there's always a negative start and you're just pushing on from there and it's an uphill battle? We at 1 of 4 have been designing and have now designed a mental health daily tracker and journal, which is there to try and overcome that and try and get you back some of that control and try and start your day off and end your day in a positive way so that you can have a little bit more control of your mental health. So the basics of it start on this. It's split into 2 halves. This is my personal one. You can see I have been using it. This is my personal one. So it's split into 2 halves. One side of the page you do in the morning, one side of the page you do in the evening. The vital bit, and if you don't take anything else from this video and you decide not to purchase this, absolutely fine. Do heed this bit of advice though. One of the biggest things you can do is do not touch your phone in that first hour of the day. Do not touch the phone, because we've all woken up one day, we've grabbed our phone right away. It's the habit, which we do. You have a look through the news, there's some negative news there, it sets you up in a bad way. Someone's made a comment in social media that's really riled you, or there's a work email that's come through which suddenly put all the stress and pressure of that on top of you, and straight away your brain clicks into those gears and it's very difficult to then get yourself out of that throughout the day. What this does, or what you do by not touching your phone for the first hour, is you allow yourself to get a little bit of that control back. So one of the most important bits of this is, so you haven't touched your phone for the first hour. You're measuring your sleep, how rested you are, what your current mood is, so that you can see how you are starting the day. Is there any improvements over time, or is things going backwards, whatever it may be. But then vitally, within that first hour, listing out what your priorities are. So these are what your priorities are, not the pushes and pulls of email, not the pushes and pulls of anything else that's been distracting you from the television or from your mobile phone or from whatever else it might be. It's what do you want to get achieved? Now, on your deepest and darkest days, that might simply be have a glass of water, get out of bed, have a shower, and even some of those things can be monumental when you're in a really bad place. So you can make these priorities as small as is relevant to you that day. But also at the same time, if you don't achieve all of them, it doesn't matter. You can push it back. Don't berate yourself for that. For me, making this video about this book has been on here for 2 days straight. But I'm not berating myself about that. I'm now getting it done. So you make these priorities, you try and make them achievable, but they are based off what you want to achieve. So it's you having that little bit of control over it. And then it's going into gratitude. So it's practicing your gratitude. Now, there's scientific evidence that if you fully engage in practicing gratitude for 21 days straight, that you begin to rewire your brain. You begin to form a new habit of looking for the positives within life. And so when I first started doing the gratitude thing, it was incredibly hard because my brain wasn't used to thinking of that. You see a negative and I fully engage in that negative straight away with all the worries and stresses about it. I see a positive and I just shelve it straight away. The other thing I would say about the gratitude is fully engage in it. Try and get a visceral feeling of it. Again, if I go back to some of the early ones and previous gratitude lists I've done, I will have written out whatever it is that I'm writing, but I won't really have felt it. I'll say, oh yeah, I'm grateful for this, or I'm grateful when my kid gives me a hug, I'm grateful for just a glass of water by the side of the bed when I wake up in the morning sometimes. Try and make sure that you actually viscerally feel it, that you get that emotion, that you get that gratitude, so you're actually feeling it, not just thinking it. And that is where the change is then going to come. So once you've got that done in the morning, then yeah, you can pick up your phone, you can go through and start the rest of your day, but you've set a nice foundation. You've set yourself what you want to achieve. So you've got your priorities rather than the push and pulls of everything else. Other things that this then provides, which can be in the evening or throughout the day, it's various different journal prompts. Journaling again is proven to be able to help get a load of stuff down on the paper. It gets you out of your mind. Just as writing, blogging for our site or whatever it may be, and talking to someone, all of these things help getting things out of your head down onto paper. There's a whole load of prompts in there which are designed around mental health to help you in the best possible way. Also, there's a nice list of achievements that you could have done throughout the day. Things like that, including taking your medication. So you've got a medication reminder in here as well. And I know sometimes, particularly if it's new to taking medication, then it can be difficult to get into that habit and you may forget, which can have all the adverse reactions as well. Have you eaten well? Have you used your support network if you need it? Made your bed? There's a lot of small things on here. Disconnect from technology, so on and so forth, and space to add your own. These little things, they're little wins, which obviously at the end of the day, they can make you feel a little bit better if you've done them. Don't berate yourself if you haven't done them all. I don't think I've got a single day where I've done all of them. So that's not really the point of it, is to try and get the ones which are most relevant to you, the ones which speak to you, and that you realise that's going to be the big difference for me. Then also finally, writing down what you're anxious about at night. Do not try and think of anything. The idea here, the majority of days, if you can see as I flick through, the majority of days I've left that empty. There's only 2 or 3 days I've written something down. The idea is not to think of something that makes you anxious. It's if you're trying to go to bed, or if you're trying to go to sleep, and there's something on your mind, something keeping you awake, try and put it down onto paper. It won't always work, but sometimes if it's a task that you need to do the next day, having written it down on paper, your brain suddenly thinks, right, that is a little bit more filed away and done, and you could increase your chance of being able to put that aside and get to sleep. It's a bit like when you're revising and you write something down. You just remember it that much better when you write it down. You don't always have to go back and look at it. You've engaged in it a little bit more. You've turned on another portion of the brain to help get it out. That's the basics of the book. And so it's one of those things, the more you engage in it, the more you use it and try to benefit from it, the better the benefit will be. If the kind of things that this is going through speak to you and say, yes, this is beneficial to me, then great, there'll be a link underneath this video for you to go and purchase it on Amazon. It doesn't cost that much. It's £6-7, something like that. If it doesn't speak to you, you aren't watching anymore because we're quite a way into the video, in which case, fair play, no worries to you. But yeah, I hope this helps. I hope you get some benefit. If you do get hold of this, if you do use it, let us know what works, what doesn't work. We can always adapt it and build it in the future as well for things that are working for you.